And also an added disclaimer, we have Jenna Moreci on today, and there will be swearing. So please turn it down if you got kids in the room, put on your headphones, or just go outside. All right. Hey, where are you coming to us from, Jenna?
I am here in Silicon Valley, California. So that's where I'm at in lockdown.
In lockdown, yes.
Right.
We are, but we're not, because this is Alaska, and I have 12 acres. My neighbors all have an acre of property that they're on, and so we I need to hit a golf ball with a driver to hit my neighbors. So there's lockdown is completely different for us up here, and
Right.
we live by a main road, and I tell you what, I can hardly tell the difference now than pre-virus.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost business as usual, and we went 8 days recently without a new case. So,
Mm-hmm.
and we've only had one death in our town.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny because I always joke that I'm basically a hermit and a recluse. So my life hasn't changed at all. I mean, the only difference is my fiance, he has a spinal cord injury, so he suffers from CRPS. So he has regular doctor appointments, and now
Mm-hmm.
the appointments are video appointments, which we actually prefer because then he can,
Cool.
just stay home and do the appointments via video. But but other than that, no change whatsoever. It's like I'm still staying home. I work from home. Nothing's changed.
That's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
What people ask for you? I see people popping up, so they're on. We're online.
Oh,
We're showing, and people ask for you. I actually, since I don't have anything to do with YouTube, I'm like, who's that? And they said, oh, you got to do this. So I was introduced to you, and I thank you for coming on and talking to us about a medium to get and retain readers that people generally don't think about for reading,
mm-hmm.
because it's video. And thanks to
Right.
TikTok, no, we're not going to thank TikTok for anything. Yeah. So just in case, we're going to turn Jenna loose here to talk to us about YouTube. So whatever you do, don't fucking swear, because it's really bad. We have our readers, our viewers out here, and we don't want to say fuck or balls or shit. And you gotta take care. So I have to get it out of the way first, because when me and Michael talk, it's which one's going to say fuck first, and I have to say that I might win more than I don't, and it's really, I'm trying to change the errors of my ways, and I'm failing miserably. So Jenna, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a total sailor's mouth, so I can relate. That's pretty much like half of the brand of my channel. Is it's like, beware, there's going to be F-bombs abound. And then when I do interviews, I try to rein it in, because you never know. A lot of people, they're like, oh my gosh, you said that. I'm like, you know what you're getting yourself into when you bring me on. I mean, like half of my videos have dick jokes. I don't know what you expected.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about our butts, though. That's Michael. I have to always promise Michael that we're not going to talk about our butts, unless we're in his car, and then anything goes, much to his chagrin. So YouTube is a vehicle. You got
Mm-hmm.
started, and what made the difference in realizing that was a way to connect?
Well, when I first started my channel, I just like to make the disclaimer that I went into it with very low expectations. When I did the research on YouTube, for just to backtrack a little bit, the reason I got into it is because I had been blogging for a while, and trying to build my author platform, and I hit that plateau a lot of bloggers get, where it's like you have your subscriber base and it's just not growing and nothing's happening. Plus I really hate blogging. Like, I enjoy writing, but I enjoy writing fiction, not like this is my life. So I wasn't enjoying it, and for years people had told me, you should do YouTube. You're very charismatic and sarcastic, and you have good entertaining presence. And my thought to that was like, hell no, that sounds absolutely mortifying. I do not want my face on the internet like that. And so for years I just pushed it aside. And after my fiance broke his spine, it kind of changes your thought process about life and taking risks. And I don't have all the time in the world. I could die tomorrow. So I decided to give it a shot. I did my research. I only found two to three other writing related channels, and they were at the time I was like, oh my gosh, these channels are huge. They had like 6,000 subscribers. you know, in terms of, I guess, YouTube fame or whatever, that's considered pretty small. But to me, that was enormous and way beyond my expectations. And so I saw that there weren't many videos or many channels devoted to writers. And I thought, I hate blogging. I don't have a lot of time left on this planet. Maybe I should give it a shot and kind of fill in this hole. It looked like there was, you know, kind of a hole in the community that, you know, could be filled. And my goal was 100 subscribers. And my far-fetched goal, like if I wanted to dream big, was 1,000 subscribers. And so I went into it with no expectations, just thinking that I'm going to give it a shot. For the first few months, it was pretty much crickets. I was trying really, really hard to be professional and only inject a little bit of personality here and there. I would bleep out all the swear words. And it got to a point where I had been doing it for about 5 months and had like, I don't know, 50 subscribers. And I just thought, well, fuck it. No one's watching anyway. So I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want. And I started to be a lot more authentically myself, started cussing, making dick jokes, I'm a straightforward person, if you couldn't tell, being a lot more straightforward and blunt with the advice. And then my channel just skyrocketed. And now I am a full-time writer and YouTuber, and it's very crazy. Did not expect it at all.
I think the big takeaways from that is you researched, you looked at here's what the successful people are doing, and success is limited. I think you're bigger than 6,000, aren't you, on subscribers?
I have over 200,000 subscribers. And
okay, yeah, I would say that's bigger.
Yeah.
But that's you researched, you went into it eyes wide open, and then you tried to be something you weren't. And that's you're trying to find that traction. And that's one thing we always encourage the writers: write what you know, and that's write what you're comfortable with. And people are like, oh, romance is selling, I'm going to get into romance. Oh, Jesus Christ, no, don't do that. Because you know, I talked to Elena Johnson, extremely successful romance author, and she read every book in the genre she was going to go into, which was Western romance, every one, and she took notes. And then when she wrote her first, no kidding, hey, it was a big winner, and all her series for Western became big. Research, and that's people, you can't do that enough. It's not like, hey, lit RPG is big, I'm going to go into lit RPG, I'm going to read one book and go. No. But Jenna, the big switch was when you said, I'm going to be myself. And then it's so much easier to do a program if you don't have to do post-production bleeping out the F-bombs. So being yourself, telling jokes, and being genuine. So what has that done for your book sales?
Well, when I started my channel, I wasn't published yet. I was in the process of writing and publishing my debut novel. And my goal was, at least once the channel started taking off, I had about 7,000 subscribers when my first book came out. And my goal was to make it a lucrative side gig. I try to be realistic with my goals. And I'm like, you know, not a lot of authors are able to make it their career, the first book. So my goal was a lucrative side job. And when my first book came out, I also wanted to try my sales goals were matched up to the average debut traditionally published author. I'm self-published, but part of my brand is about being indie and how, you know, I'm doing this all myself. So I wanted to sort of serve as, you know, an example that you can make indie very lucrative for you, and you can make it, you know, a successful career. So my goal was to, I had done the research, and at the time it said the average debut author sells 3,000 books in like 2 years. And so my goal was 1,500 books in the first year. And I ended up selling that in a couple months. And so basically I set these realistic goals, and because of YouTube, I was able to surpass them, not only meet the goals, but surpass them very quickly. And I was able to make writing in YouTube my full-time career after book one. So it's been a huge, completely changed, you know, my platform. I don't think I would be doing this full time if it wasn't for YouTube. I'm on my third book, and you know, I'm already doing this full time.
Good. That's really great to hear, and also the positive support message. monetizing YouTube, do you monetize YouTube directly, or do you make your money off the books?
I have multiple streams of income.
Good.
Most of my income comes from book sales. The second most, or they're pretty close in terms of yearly income, is sponsorships. Sometimes companies will sponsor one of my videos. It's kind of like having a little commercial at the beginning and a commercial at the end. So sponsorships are up there. YouTube, we get ad revenue, but it's actually not as much as people think it is. I mean, it's still good money. I'm not going to turn it down. But in terms of the amount of money I'm getting from, my different streams of income, I would say it's third or fourth. And most people assume that it's the top tier. Of course, yeah. I'm not open to as many advertisements as some other channels because I do say fuck and penis and things like that. Yeah. So that lowers my prospects. But for me, it's more important to be authentic to my audience and relatable than it is to, get PG ads. They wouldn't really work for my audience anyway.
No. How much time do you invest in YouTube each week?
Well, I don't usually work on YouTube every week. I post a video every week, but I batch film, which is where I basically take the day to get myself all cute and I film. Yeah, it's true. And I film a ton of videos, usually 3 at a time. That's when I start to get hoarse. So I'm like, okay, no more. So I'll batch film a ton of videos, changing my shirt between each video. And then I ship it off. At this point, obviously not when I first got started, but at this point I have an assistant. I ship off the videos to her. She trims them down, gets rid of all the ums, uhs, lulz, me stumbling over my words, that shit. She trims it down, sends it back. I add all the little doodads, the little, text overlay, the intro, that kind of thing. So there is a time investment for sure. But the more you kind of grow your platform, the bigger you get, the more outside help you'll have to sort of outsource it so that I can focus specifically on writing. I would say I would devote maybe a week tops a month to YouTube, that including scripting videos, filming videos, and getting everything live on YouTube.
Yeah, I've heard your top 10 lists are a party favorite.
Yeah, they are.
So what do you do to put those together?
Well, it started off, my top 10 lists are sort of what catapulted me. I try to do one a month because if you're just doing it every time, it becomes boring, people especially like it when I say 10 worst, like 10 worst tropes in a particular genre. And I always give the disclaimer, that's just my opinion, that it's not universal advice. This is all for laughs and it's all fun and games. People still get offended, but it's the internet. That's how it goes. But I just give my honest opinion about tropes that I don't like or tropes that I love. And I explain why I don't like it or why I love it. And sometimes if it's a genre that I don't have as strong of opinions about, I have a private writing group over on my Patreon, and I'll go there and I'll be like, hey guys, throw out ideas for me. And I'm not going to just add the ideas unless I agree. Like sometimes people will be like, I love triangles. And I'm like, I'm not really a fan. I'm not going to put that on my favorite list, But I'll listen to them and be like, oh, you're right. I really do love that trope. Okay, I'm putting it on the list. And then from that point forward, I guess it might sound cheesy, but I just be myself and talk about the tropes. And I'm a little bit of a shit and I'm very sassy and I just give my honest opinions about it. And people really like it because I'm a little shit. So
little is relative. Yeah. It's not as big as you think.
Yeah. Just a tiny shit.
We have a question on screen from Elaine, one of our 20 Books admins.
Hi, Elaine. I love to do YouTube, but I have a face only a mother could love.
That's not true. That is not true. Elaine is
no way that's true.
Elaine is short though. She's short. She's
well, I'm very tall, so automatically, Elaine, you're out of the running. No, I'm just
we see the top of your head in the video. No, Elaine has come to a number of our conferences. She came to Bali, and that was what she called as a career-changing moment. we had a higher end conference in Bali. We had 38 authors attend, and most of them had like a working spouse. Their spouse did their marketing while they did the writing. Mm-hmm. And it was a phenomenal event. We had Mark Dawson and Kevin J. Anderson as two of our big guests. Michael Anderle was there. And since that show, I think we have now 4 7-figure authors who came out of Bali.
Wow.
And almost all of them are 6-figure now or climbing toward those numbers.
That's fantastic.
A significant. It's the small environment, but Bali was exceptional in that regard. Elaine was able to join us there, and a few authors from Australia. It was a cool group and a cool get together. And she's been to, I think, all of our Vegas events as well. So Elaine, she's building her platform. She just released a new novel with Michael Anderle, and it's taken off. It's doing pretty well and getting some great reviews. So what would you recommend to Elaine for YouTube?
Well, first of all, the appearance and all that stuff, that's really not important. It's all about the content. It's about, like I said, being genuine and relatable. That's another thing is, I use F-bombs and everything in all my videos. That's because that's me. That's my personality. Anyone who knows me knows that's what I'm like. But then sometimes people will start their channel and they will try to talk the same way I do, and it's not their personality. So take for example, another really popular YouTuber in the writing community is Meg Latour. She has about 55,000 subscribers, and we're good friends, and her channel is very different from mine. She's a lot more professional. She's a lot more detail oriented. It's a completely different setup, and yet she's killing it. She's slaying the game. So it's all, and that's because she's being herself. This is how she operates. And it's all about being genuine, being true to yourself. People relate to that. They gravitate toward that. They can smell a phony a mile away. So it really doesn't matter what you look like. I know that sounds like BS because people are shallow and appearance, matters in our society. But the truth is that if the content's good, it's good, and people are showing up for that. That
carries the day. As you'll notice, I was wearing the same shirt yesterday. So anyway, just for those who watched yesterday's show, I'm losing my hair and it looks even worse on video. But the content, and this is, I think, as we pick up viewers, our intent is not to pick up viewers. We're not trying to monetize the channel because $20 to 50K is not for profit. We're just doing this to give back. So, but if we were ever to put ads on the channel in order to decrease the cost of a conference like a 20 Books Vegas, then we could do that once we get a certain number of subscribers. We have 2,000. If we really pushed, we could have 5,000 or 10,000, but we're not pushing that. I mean, I never go over there after Elaine is the one who cuts it over. Elaine and Ann Lown cut it over to YouTube for us after we do the live show. Mm-hmm. We have another question.
Is there still room for new people to join AuthorTube, or do you think it's saturated? I do. Honest opinion, I do think that when I hopped into the game around that time, which was I think like 4 or 5 years ago, that was kind of a nice time to get into it because it was less saturated than it is today. So it is definitely more saturated now, and it is harder to stand out now because there's a bunch of us now. However, if you compare other avenues of marketing for writers, it's still probably one of the least saturated, if not the least saturated. Podcasts are a lot more popular. Blogs are a lot more popular. So I definitely don't think it's too saturated. It's just going to be a little bit harder than it was when I got started.
Who is your target audience on Facebook or on YouTube?
My target audience is it's basically my readership. I write new adult and adult novels. So basically college aged and up. That's part of the reason why I feel comfortable swearing in my videos. People will be like, Jenna, I want to show your videos to, elementary school kids. They could learn a lot. So can you not swear? I'm like, well, no, elementary school kids cannot read my books. They're filled with like graphic violence and dips. So I'm not going to change my presentation to cater to an audience that isn't going to buy my books. So I think that's definitely something to keep in mind. A lot of other AuthorTubers, most of AuthorTube writes young adults, and so their channels are very different from mine. Because they're catering toward teenagers. So I personally think you should cater your channel toward whoever is going to possibly buy your books.
You be genuine and target the folks who are, because your books, I mean, for us, the 20 Books channel, it's about just helping other authors. So that's a completely separate focus. But for those folks like Laura, who is looking at how do I expand? How can I stay in touch with my readership? And also another question, do you have a newsletter that you also?
I do.
Okay.
I do have a newsletter.
Okay.
It's funny because that's usually what everyone says is the most important marketing tool you have, and it is definitely very important. And I'm very grateful for my newsletter. But for me, the YouTube channel is always number one because I have over 200,000 subscribers. I just mentioned my book in each video a week, and I get sales every single day. So for me, the channel is number one. Newsletter is a little bit lower on the list, but
from a technical standpoint, newsletter is easier. However, the one thing that the newsletter is the higher order of in hierarchy is connect with your readership. I know a guy that he only blogs. He doesn't use his newsletter, but he blogs every single day. And every Wednesday, he'd give out a free short story on his blog. So the readers, you can poll or you can push. And if you're polling people to your blog, that's a little harder. But still, as long as you're connecting with those readers, whether you do it through a newsletter, a blog, a vlog, or YouTube, it's still that connection. So all you're doing is here's my personal connection with the readers, as opposed to sending an email, which you don't know about the deliverability. And same thing with YouTube, but you can see how many people are watching. Like right now, we have 58 people watching us. Very simple. And then you also get the number of reruns. So now you're getting real data that you can use as part of your business. So absolutely, any venue, any vehicle you can use to touch noses with your readers is a cool thing. So another question on screen.
I notice you get loads of book mail from subs. What do you do with them? Build a second house. I get lots of, I do unboxing videos, and I'm literally balancing my laptop on boxes that I need to unbox in an upcoming video. I get a lot of books from readers. I actually try to read most of them. It's basically my TBR now. And I will be honest, I don't always finish all of them, but it's, sometimes it's not my taste, like for example, I'm not really big into young adult, and I get a lot of young adult books, and I'll try, but I like the graphic violence. I like the adult content. Okay. I mean, that should be obvious for my channel, but I do give it a try. Basically my whole backdrop back here, this right here, this red thing is my, it's like scrapbook of fan mail and like thank you notes and things like that, fan art, stuff like that. Above, I don't know if you can see, I have a bunch of fan art that people sent me.
Nice.
Yeah. And down below, right there that's my current TBR that people have sent me. And I've got more books down below here. I also have my entertainment center is like basically like a big shelf, and the top has a row for books, so I put all the books up there. So basically I do read what people send me, and it's all throughout my house, and it is getting to a point where I have to start being a little bit like, I receive so much stuff, I have to start getting a little picky, like, okay, do I really need to keep this? And it's hard because some of it's so wonderful. Like this was also this is a little treasure box that someone made me, like out of a book.
Nice.
And I use it to store a lot of the goodies that people send me. So so I do keep a lot of it. It means a lot to me because I feel like these people are the reason I get to do what I love as a job. So it's sentimental.
And that's so cool. You have 2 books published, 3 books published?
The third one is on the way. I literally just released its cover and release date 2 days ago. So it'll come out in September. But yeah, I have 2 books published and 1 book coming out this year.
So 3 books in 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah, about 5. But to be fair, the first one I did write, I started it when I'm 33. I started it when I was like 24, and I was writing it I spent 5 years on it. Cause like a lot of people, I was working a full-time job and it was my side gig.
Yeah. But the reason I bring this up it's to show people that you can make full-time income off a minimal if you engage with the readership, if you find those readers who like your stuff. And especially, I'm sure you write like you talk in an engaging and energetic way, and you found those readers, and now you're bringing them on 200,000. Yeah. So if only 1% buys the book, or 0.1% each time you mention it, you're getting good numbers. You're getting good airplay. So that is huge. And then also the multiple revenue streams. So 33, but you're no business slouch. One thing that separates the 7-figure authors from 6-figure authors is the business savvy. You can be an excellent writer. You can know your business. But if you want to make huge amounts of money, you need to be savvy in business and actually enjoy that part of it to exploit what's available. Not exploit the readers. No, you deliver content, good quality content to the readers in a way that they like, whether it's through audiobook, paperback, hardback, doing videos, all of those things. Because you monetize your video stream, something we don't do, but we monetize a lot of other stuff. And bring it in a way that, yes, it all adds to the kitty. And I don't need to have great sales to have a great month. And that's February was I only made about 20 grand in February, and I didn't have a new release. I'm big about I release a lot of books. So I have a smaller fan base, but they're very diligent. And so you look at those numbers, you're like, oh my God, that makes for a great. Yeah, that was my smallest month on the year. And I didn't have a new release. When I have a new release, it's even more. And life is pretty good, especially now that I'm not traveling. I spent $60,000 traveling last year.
Oh wow!
So yes, you got to make some money from books. So I published a lot. I published a lot of books last year, but this year you cut out all that travel. Now all that money was. I wasn't going to spend that much this year, but now all of that money. Hey, look at this, and I'm making about the same as last year with fewer releases and much lower overhead. So, hey, it's going to be a great year for Uncle Sam.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate because I have a background in business. I went to business school. I majored in
look at that.
I majored in business administration with a concentration in finance. I was a stockbroker while I was writing my first novel, and then I segued into being an accountant, which I actually sounds so boring. And no, it's not interesting, but I liked it a lot more than being a stockbroker. But yeah, that's part of the reason that people were like, you should start a YouTube channel like to give writing advice. Is a lot of the business side of things. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to self-publish is when I originally, like a lot of people, I thought, I'm going to traditionally publish because that's the only option, And then I started researching it and I, saw the reality of the situation. And a lot of the things that an average midlist author gets are things that I was like, well, I have a business background. I know how to do this stuff. And the stuff I don't know, I can learn. So that's what I did. And I made it work for me. So it's funny because my favorite videos to make are the business videos because I feel like that's the most important information right now. You can learn what a chapter is and how to write prose pretty much anywhere. That information is available, readily available. The business side of writing is a little bit harder to find information for because the industry is constantly changing.
Yeah.
And it's funny because those are my least popular videos. So people, they want the information about chapters and what's a subplot and they want the trope videos. So I do, focus mostly on that, but I get really, really excited when I have an opportunity to do a business video.
Good. We don't know anything about the business side of publishing books, but but we like talking to people who do. So we do have a request. What's on your shirt? Could you stand up so we can see it?
Okay. So this is my book, The Savior's Champion. This is the first book. It's red handprints. It kind of looks like it's trying to grab my boobs. I promise it's not. It's the first book in my dark fantasy series. It's adult, guys. Okay, the way I talk, it's
Okay.
In the book. So
there you go. There you go. And it's fairly burly.
Yeah, I write big books. they're big babies.
Yeah. We like big books.
Yeah.
The did you get that through Ingram with the
Yes.
dust jacket and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, we talked to Ingram yesterday. We had the head of Ingram Spark on the show.
Oh, wow. I missed that because I was doing caregiver work. So
because you're working. Yeah. And thank you for sharing your time with us. I really appreciate that. I'm glad we could find a time that worked for us, that worked for everybody. Let me see if we have any other questions. We do not. The YouTube, you talked about the most compelling content, and how did you determine that? Because, okay, business over top of the chapter, whatever.
Well, YouTube, they make it so easy. They give you all your analytics. So they have a full analytic page, and you can literally see, how videos are performing at what time, things like that. And on top of that, obviously the analytics page is very helpful, and I recommend if you do YouTube, check the analytics page. But even if you didn't have that, just look at your views. Some videos, my videos, views range from something like 500,000 views they're all top 10 videos to 5,000 views. So for example, my least popular videos are probably my unboxing videos, but I like to do that because people get excited because they see, oh, look, my book is on her channel. So for me, it's like a thank you to everyone who has supported me. So I don't mind, that they get lower views. And then when I bitch about I hate these fantasy tropes, those are the videos that get 500,000 views. So it's really easy to see what's working and what's not. And that was kind of, for me, the light bulb moment when I had put together all these videos where I was trying really, really hard to be professional with just a little sprinkling of personality. And then I made a video where I'm basically just, no one's watching anyway, so I'm just going to be a shit. And then just skyrocketed, and it blew my mind. So,
and there you are.
Right. It makes it really easy to see what's performing well and what's not. And so you can skip over the content that isn't really going to do anything for you.
So you've got the analytics, which is always good. Anytime you have analytics, if you have a website, make sure you have analytics installed. I have Google Analytics, of course, just to, give me numbers and show what is resonating. We had Dave Chesson on, and from Kindlepreneur, and he spent a lot of money and a lot of time doing a heat map of the Amazon product page for an author.
Wow.
And he actually shared it with me. It's not public yet. Mm-hmm. And it is great seeing here's where people hover, here's where they click, and I'm like, that is awesome. And he told the audience, he said, you must have, and we usually don't give must haves here. Everything's probably, but he's like, that bolded top line hook needs to set the hook. That sentence gets the heat, and then it tapers off quickly after that. So above the fold, yes, read more, get some action, but that top line bolded hook is what got a lot of the heat. And then I looked at it and I saw some other points. I'm like, that is way cool. Testimonials, so-and-so read the book, and the most important part wasn't their quote, but it was their name bolded and their chops.
Right.
This person, New York Times bestselling author, loves Jenna Moreci's books. Oh, wow, cool. She loves her. Doesn't even read what they what they wrote. So those kinds of things, those are great if you can get that kind of analytics, and especially for your own site, for YouTube. I mean, I didn't know what I don't do YouTube because I can't. I don't have any. It costs me so much to watch a video. Yes, it cost me. I downloaded something once. I'm like, oh, hey, I've got extra bandwidth left over at the end of the month. Well, I didn't. The data was delayed, and so I paid $50 for one episode of a TV show. And
No.
Don't be like me. Yeah, I could have bought it for $2.99. I did, and then $50 to download it.
No.
Hang on, just a second. Here we go. We got another question.
Let's see. I write an action adventure espionage series as Cap Daniels, and I'm currently producing a series of YouTube videos called Behind the Books to give readers a behind-the-scenes look into the details of each book. Do you know of anyone else doing that? And then it got cut off. And do you have any advice on such an effort? I do. Sorry, I was rereading. I do something similar to that, but typically, and I'm not saying this to discourage you or anything, because I actually think this is a really cool idea. But my thought process on YouTube is get the audience, then sell the product, which is basically people are, for lack of a better word, inherently selfish. They are going to YouTube either to learn something or for entertainment. And so you offer them something that, you know, is they'll learn from, or is entertaining, or is both. So for me, when I started my channel, it wasn't about, you know, my books. I just offered this service. And then once you have the audience and they start coming to you and they start becoming loyal to you and really liking your content, that's when you can start making it a bit more personal. You can start getting a bit more vulnerable. Like I talked about how, you know, my fiance has a spinal cord injury, and I've talked about mental health and things like that. And I talked about my books because at that point they're listening. At that point, they're not just going to you because they need to learn what a subplot is. Now they're going to my channel because it's Jenna Moreci's channel and they're a fan. And at that point I could start talking about my books. So I have videos devoted to, like, for example, when the Savior's Champion came out, I did one video a day the whole release week, and every single video was something about TSC. Like I did a video where I answer the top 10 questions I get about TSC. I did a video where I introduce all the characters and give information about them. I did videos about the world of TSC. There's a tournament in TSC. I did a video breaking down the tournament, just all kinds of stuff exclusively about TSC. And I could at that point because I had an audience who was interested in not just, you know, the writing advice, but also me and what I'm working on. So my advice is usually it's hard to sell a channel when it's just, this is about my book. Usually you have to offer some kind of service. However, if you're not looking at the channel as growing an author platform, which is what I was doing, if you're looking at it more like a supplemental thing, like this is something on the side for my readers to enjoy after they've read the book or while they're reading the book, then I think that's a great idea and it could be really, really fun. It's just not sort of the route that I took, because for me, it was about building a platform and getting an audience.
That's a great answer. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
How do we get that heat map? When Dave releases it, he's probably going to release it through Kindlepreneur at some point in time. So Dave is the owner of that. Yeah, I get to be me in a lot of occasions, not all. And he was able to share it with me, sworn to secrecy, and it was enlightening to say the least. Now, keep in mind, Dave paid a lot of money to get that heat map, so he needs to make sure that he gets his money's worth out of it through the products that he provides. So right. Please understand, not everything's free, or Tonstoffel, as Heinlein said, there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. So Tonstoffel, you'll see people, you go to science fiction conventions, you'll see people wearing Tonstoffel shirts or hats, and that's what it means. Nothing is free. So somebody has to pay for it. And Dave shared with me, and it was it was a bit spendy to get that heat map. Now, and with thousands of subjects, so it was a pretty valid study of where people look when they check your Amazon product page, which everything comes down to that. You need to get them to go hit buy, whether it's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, through Ingram, somewhere you need somebody to hit buy. And how you get them there, it helps to friend them first and make them aware, without being oh, by the way, I'm an author. If that's how you start your conversation, you're going to lose people.
Exactly.
We practice 20 books. Sometimes we'll have a post and we'll practice elevator speeches. And you have 2 floors. And we run into this a lot, especially 20 Books Vegas. Everybody climbs on the main elevators and we all go up and down together. And you'll be on. And this year we own all the hotel. We have all the rooms. And so anytime you're on an elevator, you're going to be with an author or an author's family member. So how do you manage that conversation for serial introverts? Like, oh my God, turn and face the window and look out at the atrium without ever having to engage? Or do you like, oh man, TGI Fridays really delivered quickly this year. I mean, the valuable small talk that isn't, hey, what do you think of the weather? I mean, oh my God, you're going to waste your 2 minutes of fame with somebody asking about the weather.
It's funny because whenever people ask me about like, what should I do with YouTube? And they'll be like, oh, I'm starting my channel. I'm making a get to know me video. I'm always like, the worst thing you can do is, I mean, like, it's not going to kill you, but the worst idea is to make your first video, get to know me. What? And I don't mean, this is going to sound mean, whatever. Why would anyone want to get to know you? They have no idea who you are.
Know who you are.
You are a stranger, and YouTube has millions of creators on there. Like, why would they get to know you when they can get to know like Shane Dawson or someone who's famous on YouTube? You know, they don't know you. So starting your channel with get to know me, and then, you know, they're always shocked. They're like, it's crickets. No one's watching. It's like, well, that's because no one has a reason to watch. You are just a nobody to them. And, you know, the very first video that I posted was, you know, why I decided to self-publish my first novel. And it performed pretty well considering that I was
over time, not initially.
Right, not initially. But that's the thing, is that I chose a topic that I knew is a little bit more, especially at the time. Now indie isn't quite as taboo.
We're awesome.
Right.
You're awesome now.
Exactly. But at the time it was a little bit more like, so I chose that topic. And I think it wasn't until I hit my growth spurt that I even made a get to know Jenna Moreci video. At that point I had like 7,000 subscribers. Okay. And that's when I was like, okay guys, here's who I am. This is who you've been watching this whole time. Before then I didn't even bother with it because who cares? I'm not important, you know?
That's right. You're not, and that's on my newsletter. I do a get to know me series of 5 newsletters onboarding sequence. But the only reason they get there is I do only organic now. So the only reason they get there is because they've gotten something from me, right. Whether it's a book, whether it's an ad, whether it's something. It's like, hey, get to know the guy you're gonna get a newsletter from, probably too frequently. So you know, don't be scared off right away, because I send my people spread out their onboarding sequence. I have 5 newsletters on my onboarding sequence, and I give away 5 short stories and an audio, a free audio out of those 5. So each one I'm giving them something and giving them a little bit, and I send them 3 days apart. So they're going to get those 5 over the course of 12 days. Wow. And then it's like, now you're in my list. So if I got an email going out the next day, well, they're going to get 6th email. And ever since I went with the 5, when I had 3, I had a fairly high subscribe rate. Also had done some list builders and some bullshit that gave me a very high unsubscribe rate. And when I went to the 5, my unsubscribe rate is point something of a %. Oh wow! It's minimal. It's minimal is all, and it helps. My open rate on my first email for new subscribers is north of 80%.
Wow! That's
I know. and by the 5th one, it's still 50%. So, and this is they just got 5 emails over the course of 12 days, and it's 50% still on that 5th email because they're getting a new short story. And what I did when I failed initially was I gave them something that wasn't representative of me. It was a humorous piece. It was a little bit of a parody, and I write science fiction, adventure, space opera, Space Marines, and when I did away with that, and I put in, here's short stories that are representative of me, which is probably similar to your transition from I'm trying to be upright and professional. I'm wearing a business suit, talking about, hey, I self-published my own book. Who gives a fuck? What you needed to do was be you, wear your T-shirt, and say, okay, let's have a conversation here. Let's talk about fun shit. And then all of a sudden, hey, there's a lot of people out there who wanna watch fun videos and be engaged and be entertained. Is that they don't care who you are. They do now, which is different. So at the beginning, they don't care who you are. But if you've contacted them by a book first, and then they come over, or word of mouth, oh man, you got to read Jenna Moreci's book. You got to. Well, now, okay, hey, now I'm interested. Now I do want to know who you are. So if you're building organically, then that's what you want to maintain that relationship in a way that You keep them on board. You don't want to chase them away. You only get one chance to make a first impression.
Exactly.
Oh, I didn't warn you, besides the notes down the side and the intro and the swearing, I sometimes go on these long diatribes that have nothing to do with anything.
No, well, so do I, so that I'm glad.
Oh, here we go. Oh, that's not a question. It's, hey, I've watched all your videos. Got a fan. Okay, hang on. Here's a new one.
What software or hardware to use to run your channel? This is a great question. This is probably not going to answer the question, but it's the thing that I always start with. The biggest mistake, well, not the biggest, one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of new YouTubers make is that they start their channel and they buy tons of equipment. Okay, you don't know if anyone's gonna like your shit. Okay, you don't know if YouTube's gonna be right for you. You don't know if you're even gonna enjoy YouTube. Like, I started blogs thinking that I would love it. I hated it. YouTube, I prefer significantly more. So there's a lot of free shit you can get to start a channel so that you aren't, wasting a ton of money on something that might not work out for you. For example, lots of people make decent quality videos on their iPhone. You can get iMovie and other programs like that completely for free to edit your videos. I still do most of my video editing on iMovie, and I have over 200,000 subscribers. Natural lighting, open a window and film in front of that. You don't need the fancy equipment. So if you're starting a channel, don't go crazy, because it doesn't matter. I know plenty of people who got into YouTube and they bought all the equipment, and they're going on, I don't know, a decade on YouTube, and they barely have broken 1,000 subscribers, and they're still not monetized, and they have all the equipment and all the fancy doodads, but their content is boring, and so no one's watching it and no one's subscribing. So my thing would be, get the free stuff and get comfortable with the climate, see if you're actually good at it, and hone your craft, see if it's actually going to work out for you. If it does work, that's when you can invest in equipment. I will be honest that this is not my forte. My fiance has a background in computer science. And so I say he's the CTO, the chief technology officer of the business. So all the equipment I have now is from him, but I've got like a fancy microphone that I'm not currently using, but I use it for videos. I can show you guys, hold on, like my lighting setup is, sorry if I blind you, I got a ring light, woo! And my setup is falling. I got one of these lights, another light over. Can you see it? Let's see. Yep. There's another one of those big lights. I'm doing my best here, guys. Let me get my setup back. But yeah, I've got a ton of equipment now, but I was still filming with my FaceTime camera when I had 100,000 subscribers. So just know that you can get the subscribers and you can get the traffic without the expensive equipment, because I didn't get my first professional camera until I had 100,000 subscribers. So long story short, don't worry about it too much. Yeah.
Michael told me to get a light because I have two kind of yellowish lights over top here, and I've got a big window right behind me. And Michael's like, you should get a better light. I'm like, I don't care.
Right.
But I don't care.
Right.
And people don't need to see all of me. So here we are. I am wearing pants today. I know people are concerned on occasion. I did one time get up. I'm like, oh, I got to shut the door. And I was not.
It's funny because I get all cute for my videos and it's literally from the waist up. And my assistant who sees me editing the video, she sees me walking through. So she sees the sweats, and like the little flat floral printed PJ bottoms. And then from the waist up, I've got like earrings and everything. My hair's all done. And it's like, no, it's an illusion. But one thing I did want to mention is that if you are going to spend money on anything, let it be a microphone, because if people complain about anything, even if the lighting is bad, even if you are a mess. If they complain about anything, it's going to be the audio, if it hurts their ears, things like that. So if you're going to invest in anything, let it be a microphone. But I would definitely, and also they asked about software and hardware. I use iMovie and Final Cut Pro now, and definitely editing your videos, very important. Being able to cut out the ums, the uhs. People go on YouTube because they don't have all day and they want the quick, instant gratification.
Yep.
So get to the point. Something I'm very bad at doing.
How long are your videos?
They're usually around 10 minutes.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
And you do one a week? But it takes you a week to record.
Yeah, but it'll be, I devote about a week each month to all my videos for the month.
Okay.
So about a week to get, I usually aim for about 6 videos a month. So I do at least one video a week. And then sometimes I sprinkle in bonus videos, which usually my videos, one video a week comes out on Wednesday, and my bonus videos usually comes out on Mondays. And yeah, it takes me about roughly a week to make all that content for the month.
Okay. But so an hour worth of end video.
Right.
You know, you've got all of the draft and the double takes and things like that. But so 10 minutes, that's great. I love the 10. That's something I didn't even contemplate, because our shows are all an hour, because I wax poetic way too often. But 10 minutes of heavy hitter. Here's a top 10 list. Here's this. Here's unboxing. I'm opening it. Oh, I love this. It's great.
Now those can be longer. I also do like day in the life vlogs. Those are typically longer. Sometimes they can, but they're also the least popular videos. So it's like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. No, people aren't, You're
not going to watch it anyway, so fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to do whatever. So, but yeah, I usually recommend around 10 minutes. And the thing is just like with the writing industry, the climate changes. So when I started YouTube, it was recommended that your videos be less than 5 minutes. I could never get good writing advice less than 5 minutes. So my goal was always around 7 minutes. I was like, close enough. Now the industry has changed, and a lot more popular YouTubers are making 15-minute long videos. So now my goal is less than 15 minutes. And usually I end up around 10, 11 minutes. And that works for me.
Good. Excellent tip. What one tip would you give to someone getting into AuthorTube or YouTube?
If you mean like, physically getting into it, like creating a channel, I already touched on some of these things. One is don't spend a shit ton of money on the equipment. Get your groove first, get comfortable with it, and see if it's actually going to work out for you. Don't try to emulate other people. Be yourself. People can spot a phony a mile away, and it's not going to work out for you. Edit your videos. That is the most annoying thing, is when people don't edit their videos and there's just like lots of this. Anyway, don't delete it, cut it, move on to the next. And understand that it's going to take a while. It's not going to just happen overnight. I meet a lot of people who they're 3 months into their channel and they're like, I only have 100 subscribers. And it's like, well, you have more than I did at 3 months. So bitch, stop complaining. It takes a while. It's not going to happen overnight. No one owes you anything. You're doing this hoping to grow an audience. So don't be entitled about it. Like if it's not working, if you've been doing this 6 months and you still haven't gotten 100 subscribers, something's not working. Look at your channel. Which videos are not performing well? Are they all not performing well? What the hell do you think you're doing wrong? Like, I see a lot of people just cranking out the same videos over and over again and not understanding why they're not performing well, and they blame it on the audience. It's your fault. You're doing something wrong. Figure it out. Fix it.
Yeah. And that comes back to books. It's your fault. I mean, that's the one thing great about being an indie, but it's also the burden in that you're fully responsible for everything. And if it's not selling, it's easy to get frustrated and not understand why. And hopefully with 20 books, with the CNM show videos, we're able to help people analyze themselves and help them with the tools they need to better manage their business and understand what it takes to move forward. Like on the conversion, you're getting 1,000 clicks and no sales. I can tell you instantly, it's your cover, your blurb. Your blurb probably sucks and you're not closing the deal.
Right.
If you're getting 1,000 or you are advertising to Brazil, they'll click on anything. You can get 1,000 clicks in like 8 minutes, and you're not going to get a single sale. So don't do that. Don't do Facebook ads to Brazil. But still, you want to get those clicks, but you're looking for 1 to 10. If you get 10 clicks, you get 1 sale. You're a superhero.
Right.
And so then you need business size. Hey, I'm paying $1 a click. Okay, that's cool. You just paid $10 for 1 sale at $4.99. You get $3.50. You're upside down unless you have a long series. Now all of a sudden, hey, the math works.
Right.
Because I can personally pay $5 for those 10 clicks, so 50 cents per click to get the sale, and then still make good money, make 2 to 3 times on the cost.
Mm-hmm.
But I write really long series as opposed to single books that are really, really long, like Jenna. I write a long series. But that's all part of the business part. And I love looking at those numbers and saying, okay, the read through and this, where did I go wrong? I had one book that dropped off after I did 4 books, took a big delay, and then did the last 3, and then did 1 final book to wrap up the whole series. 4 books, good read through. I thought there was a big drop off to book 5. There wasn't when we looked like 3 months later. And then there was a big drop off to book 6. So I got to go back and say, what the hell did we do in book 5 that turned off the readers that they didn't come back to book 6? I mean, it was substantial. We were getting 80 to 90% for the first 5 books, and then book 5 to book 6 was 60%. Like, we did something to piss off the readers. It's my fault. This is my book, and we got them to come back, but then we lost them. So books 7 and 8. Once again, we're back up to 90%. Book 8 was almost 100%, but we already lost a really big chunk of the audience. So go back to 5 and unfuck yourself. So that's I have that on my to-do list. Read through it and unfuck the stupid shit in there that chase the readers away. So this is love the business part, and then but also the creativity of the stories. Where do you come up with your stories?
Where do I come up with my stories? Well, I wanted to be a writer since I was a little kid. Literally since I was 6 years old. We used to write construction paper books in school. My book was called The Funeral. It was about a dead cat. So that kind of shows why I am the way I am. But I've wanted to be a writer my whole life. A lot of little girls, they grew up with Disney movies. I did as well. However, Little Mermaid and all that, those weren't my favorite movies. My dad got me really into a lot of the old adventure and action movies like The Mysterious Island, The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, Jason and the Argonauts. I'm forgetting my favorite one.
A classically educated author. I love it. Those are exceptional movies. And you're talking The Mysterious Island 1961 version.
Yes. The Time Machine, Clash of the Titans with Harry Hamlin, not the remake. It is disgraceful. Yeah. But I loved those movies, and I loved them, and they're still my favorite movies to this day. I have not changed since I was a child. I don't know if I should be concerned about that. But that's what I like to write. I like to write these epic fantasy or sci-fi adventures that are like half sword fighting and battles and we're gonna die, and half romance and the hero and the heroine, and that's what I love. And so I've loved that ever since I was a kid. I've been writing stories ever since I was a kid, and I think what has helped in terms of my writing process is that I have never, because I've wanted to be a writer my whole life, I have never let go of that sort of wild imagination, creativity that a lot of people lose when they become an adult. So when people will tell me, like, people ask me, how do you get your story ideas? How are you constantly getting ideas? I'm like, I think them up. Like, that's what your brain's for. It's imagination. But it's because a lot of people, they get that conditioned out of them. Society clips your wings, so to speak. And I was a little shit, and I refused to have my wings clipped. Also, I'm a very vivid dreamer. And a lot of my book ideas have come from really weird dreams. I used to call them movie dreams. Once I became a published author, I started calling them book dreams, which makes more sense. And I won't be in the dream. It'll just be like I'm watching a movie, which is why I call them movie dreams. And then when I wake up, after the brain fog goes away, I sit and think, could this be a book, or was it just entertaining because I was asleep? And if it could be a book, I take notes on it, and I have them in a folder on my desktop. There's like 30 info dumps about these book dreams on in this folder, and I reference them for future books that I'm going to write. But the Savior's Champion, that series, the series I'm currently working on, was not from a dream. That one I got the idea listening to a Nine Inch Nails song. So,
oh, nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
At
inspiration
all.
comes in all forms.
Yeah, Five Finger Death Punch, Disturbed, I mean, all the classics.
Right, exactly.
We're going to need to get going here. Thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate your wisdom and especially your experience in how you went about YouTube and what you're doing with YouTube, and your valuable advice, especially to our folks who are looking at getting into YouTube. So thank you very much, Jenna. Any final words?
Well, thank you so much for having me here. I really, really, really appreciate it. If you guys want to check me out, I'm over at youtube.com/Jenna Moreci. That's JennaMoreci. And my next book is coming out September 29th, The Savior's Sister. Check it out. It's the companion novel to this one. Woo.
Superb. It's good to hear, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Tomorrow we have Michael back, Craig and Michael on together, just not talking about our butts because Michael refuses to. But I'm sure we'll be telling some jokes, maybe even giving something away, and hopefully answering your questions. Bring your questions tomorrow, and we'll see you then.